Welcome back to Seen It Before. We're probably going to say something stupid about your favorite movie because, wait for it, we've seen it all before. I'm Danny.
Well, if you don't, it's the Baba Yaga's going to get you.
Yes.
John Wick 4. John Wick Chapter 4. Really, we were really excited to see this movie. We saw it separately. I saw it with our guest, but it's, let's just bring him in. Hey, what's up? What's up, John? Welcome back.
Everyone, I'm John.
He's back.
Yep.
You were last on Creed, right?
No, that was Kylie. You were on Duel of the Debates a lot.
He was on. What were you last on? It was like a month, 2 months ago.
That cabin in the woods.
Oh, Knock at the Cabin. Yeah.
And that shit.
Mid.
Yeah. Well,
That was mid.
This was definitely a lot better than that.
Very
And
true.
we're going to get into that in just a little bit. But first, a little housekeeping. So we're Seen It Before. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok with the handle @SeenItBeforecast. That's SCENE It Beforecast. And on Twitter with the handle SIB_pod. Yeah. All right. Enough of that. Let's get right to it. All right. So, first, John Wick. We'll recap here before we get into Chapter 4.
What did happen in it? I don't...
John
is the Baba Yaga.
So a retired, like assassin, John Wick, left the life for his wife in
Helen.
That is true. Now we remember that. So his wife passes away. She then gives out, she in her will gives a dog to John Wick,
Puppy.
a little
so
pup, a little
cute.
beagle,
Daisy, right?
Yes, Daisy. Yes, and then a bunch of Russians come, take his car, kill his dog, and he's like, "Well, I guess I'm back to work."
He pisses off Theon Greyjoy at a gas station. He's like, "How much for the car?" And he's all disrespectful. He's like,
he's
slapping
a little
it and shit. And he's like, "How much is And then he says in Russian, it's like, "Not for sale." And so he pisses him off. And then home invasion. Was his valid response.
And so that gets the ball rolling. So basically, the first one is just getting revenge on the Russian mob for that.
And they don't realize who he is.
No,
basically
the father
that's the whole
did
thing.
after he told them.
And I love his dad's monologue where he's just someone call him the boogeyman, the Baba Yaga. No, he's the man you send to kill the fucking boogeyman.
Kill the man with a pencil.
A fucking pencil? Who the fucking do that?
In the bar with the pencil.
So basically, he just goes on a fucking rampage.
So he goes he kills all these Russian guys protecting his son, kills his son, and then at the very end he kills the father for protecting his son.
Yeah.
So that was the end of the first one.
Two picks up right where that left off.
Two picks up the exact same night he gets home, and a different assassin's like, "Hey,
yeah, he gets his
you're
car
no
back.
longer
It's
retired."
since you're back.
Yeah, since you're retired, they have this little blood oath coin. And they're like, "Hey, I'm cashing in," and the deal was to essentially kill the Pope.
It was his sister, though, right?
No, it was his sister. It wasn't the Pope.
Was it?
It was
his
just because
sister.
this is when we get in the whole world building with the high table and shit.
No, the dude asked, "You're not here to kill the Pope," and he's like,
That's
no.
what I'm thinking of.
Yeah. No,
They also have him,
she has the
area.
seat at the high table, and
Correct.
John's like, "Hey, I love you and respect you, but I gotta kill you." So she kills herself, right?
Right.
And then Common, who's like her ward or something, her protector, so now he's got a vendetta against John. So he's got that problem. Plus Santino, who's the guy who hired him, is trying to double cross him and get him to do his dirty work and then kill him because because he did it unwillingly, and John will probably come after Santino anyway.
And that one ends with John Wick breaking one of the cardinal rules and killing him
on
hotel grounds, which is not, it's a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
So that made him excommunicado, and then that pickups where 3 starts. He's basically fighting all these assassins who are trying to.
I forgot he got shot off a fucking roof.
That was the
at
third
the end
one.
of 2.
Was it 2 or 3?
That was the third one.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, Winston shoots him in the third one.
Yeah, that was the second one.
You got
Anyway,
to edit
keep
that
going.
out now, otherwise you sound like an idiot.
That's fine. No, I don't. It's fine. I am an idiot. It's fine.
So 3 picks up with all these assassins cashing in on this open contract on John Wick. So he's dealing with all that. He has to deal with fighting the high table.
Yeah.
And how does that ends with the big shootout?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, so Winston and I forgot Lance Reddick's name in the movie.
Sharon.
They team up, and it's a pretty badass scene where he's a parabellum, and then I'm like, oh, that's why it's called parabellum, because it's prepare for war.
Mm-hmm.
Then so they have a big whole fight shootout with people. Now it's like a SWAT team, elite
in the hotel.
guys. Yeah,
in the hotel,
fucking badass, all lit in green and shit. Mm-hmm. And then they decide to make a deal with the adjudicator. We didn't mention her in the beginning, but
Oh yeah, she's a bitch.
Fucking hated her. She's just representing the high table, the big organization government of the assassins.
Right.
And she's like, Winston, I'll give you back your hotel if you kill John right now. So he does it, and then John's got like the armor suit, which is a really cool invention for the whole movies. Like,
Okay, well,
it barely makes sense.
We'll get into it.
But
so then he tumbles down he falls off the roof of the building, and then he goes underground with what's his face,
the Bowery King.
Lawrence Fishburne's
Fishburne.
character.
Yes, and that's how that ends.
All right,
So
and now
Now we're in 4.
Spoilers ahead. So, chapter 4 begins.
Yeah.
Dude, when it started, I was like, oh, here we go.
Like it's just like the in universe is like, like the Bowery
So
King
much
just like
bass.
set up like this these like lanes of fire.
Why do you need
like-
that? Why do you need a little fire in your homeless person? Government official.
Yeah, the homeless
system?
people are it's like very on the nose. Like the homeless people are like
That's
the
that's
backbone
what
of the.
the bum fights are for. It's just the bum fights. It just-
We've been making a lot of money with these bum fights. Let's like trick this place out.
Assassin bum fights. That's great.
Yeah, so basically there's that whole opening scene, Lawrence Fishburne giving a monologue. Then we go to the desert where he goes to kill the elder again. Or tries to kill
So
the new elder.
we kind of jumped over a bunch of stuff in 3. He has to he has to chop off his finger
A bunch of high table nonsense.
Yeah, the elder.
to basically back to the high table, and because Halle Berry shows up for a little bit in the 3rd one, and it's a whole thing. But yeah, so now he's like, fuck the high table, who's like the one who sits above the table, and then they recast him for some reason.
Right.
Well, they didn't recast him. Like,
No, it was
he
just
just
a- it was a
different guy?
replaced already.
Killed the
Like,
one, and
He
then
must
they
have already
replaced him.
died. So,
Oh, well, shoots him in the fucking head, like says, fuck all this high table bullshit.
like, remember they were saying, like, you'll run out of bullets before they run out of heads. So,
Yeah, that's the whole theme of this movie, where this is like, where does it end? Like, your John's just gonna keep killing and kill all these different people who are trying to come after him. So basically, this is like his end game. Like, we're trying to figure out what that is.
the hotel gets deconsecrated, and there's an
For the
hour
actions
before
of
it.
3.
Yes, for the actions of 3.
So now we basically have another adjudicator who's just Bill Skarsgård now, but they call him the Marquis.
Well, yeah, and I really wish we got the adjudicator so we could shoot her in the fucking head.
I really liked
Oh
her.
my god.
Yeah.
It's all right. So the Marquis, Winston, and Sharon are all having a conversation
Shoots him from the
as
fucking-
the timer is running out and the hotel blows up. And
I love how
as-
like Clancy Brown's just like the referee
dude,
of everything.
Clancy Brown, Mr. Krabs coming in.
Yeah.
clutch.
Like, who would have thought?
money. Yeah. So anyway, as a dick move, the Marquis shoots Sharon
And blows
kills
up
him,
the Continental, yeah.
And
Which I thought was kind of like,
oh.
but they do honor him. I'm not sure if because Lance Reddick actually died in real life. Yeah, he died like
Lance
last
Reddick
week.
died a week before the premiere.
Yeah.
No.
Like
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh, yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a I need a moment. I love The Wire. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, so,
he
like-
died, and I love how they.
What did he die
Winston-
of?
He just
I don't know.
old age. It was
How old is
he's
he? He's not that
60.
old.
He
That's
had
not
like a
that
sudden illness, probably.
It had to
something.
be some sort of heart complications or something.
Okay.
But anyway,
Sorry, moment of
I,
silence.
I love the line that
not.
Winston says.
I knew it was going to happen.
Okay, Dan. Sorry. No, continue now.
I love the line that Winston says later in the movie. Above all else, he was a friend. I was like,
Yeah.
that's sweet.
That's very nice.
It kind of just has a different meaning now too. So it's great.
I thought it was a nice kind of, because of circumstances, I think they handled that whole thing
Right.
maybe unknowingly very well. So
Yeah. Okay. So moving on to the Osaka. No, not Osaka. Donnie Yen. His introduction. So does he have to stay away from his daughter so he keeps her safe? Is that kind of his whole shtick?
I'm not exactly sure. He has some sort of deal. I think maybe the Marquis has her captive or something.
Like-
or just due to the nature of what he does for work, she's at risk.
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
you
what I'm thinking.
To get at you, you're going to go. For
That
the
makes
daughter.
sense.
So that's why. And again, they probably agree. It's not like an actual like court order. I'm sure. It's just like an agreement of like, we'll keep your daughter safe if you stay away from her. And then like, what they said, like, it's a life for a life. So you get rid of one person for us. We make sure she stays out of the fold.
Yes. And I love that Donnie Yen's playing a blind guy again. because
His two best characters that I've seen. I haven't really seen Ip Man, but
Yeah. What's his face in Rogue One?
yeah, Cheer It.
Yeah.
He's fucking like he's
badass
just
in that too,
badass
so-
blind guy. Like
Like
that's just his thing now.
It's his shtick.
I like in this one though. He actually does seem more blind than
He does.
than in Rogue
He
One.
does a really good
He's
job
like
at portraying
he's like
it this
feeling
one.
around for shit, It's a lot more
And the way
realistic in an
he
unrealistic movie.
moves around too is so cool and so like
Fluid.
Yeah.
Very fluid.
very well done. Oh my god.
I like the bit with the doorbells where they
That
put
was
like
so
the little
cool.
sensors around the kitchen.
So we'll get into that.
Well, yeah, we're going to Osaka.
Yeah.
Osaka next anyway.
So that was the next. So they basically say the Marquise gives him the card that says John Wick. That was in Braille, which I thought was kind of nice. How
They revealed
the
it.
sub-
he doesn't
yeah,
even
the
go
sub-
all the way. It's like,
I like how they did the subtitle. Like as his fingers passed, it just showed the name. So
Yeah.
I thought that was very subtle and nice. But so they're like, where would he be? And he's like, well, there's probably only one place. And then we cut to Japan, where he's staying at another continental hotel.
He's got friends.
He
Yeah,
has like a
Koji.
handful.
yep. Well, I love how we haven't seen any of these characters before, and they're so well developed, and they seem like they've just been there from the start.
Yeah.
like they did a great job of.
I want to know what Koji did to help John in the past because like he's just basically like another Winston.
And,
so
and
like
Kane too. I want to see more of him in the past too.
yeah, well, so in the third one, you really got a sense like they started introducing the idea of like does John have an equal? You know, and that's so that the bald guy I
Right.
forgot his name Iron Chef guy.
The one that's like a big fan of.
Yeah, he's a big fan. He's like, we're the same. And then John's like equivocally like, no, we're not. Like you suck. And then he kills him. Is like, and I love how he dies in the last one. He's just like, don't worry, John, I'll be right back. Just catching my breath. He's got a fucking katana in him.
I'm okay.
But yeah, so I like that. And so now we actually get to see what an equal to John looks like. And we're actually kind of, it's almost like we're going in, like we haven't seen it, but we were going back in time where John was actually getting out. That so, you know, what's Donnie Yen's name?
Kane.
Kane. That's ironic. We're seeing him try to get out, basically.
Yeah.
And that's what, like, I'm not sure if like an early subtitle for this movie, because it's just called John Wick Chapter 4. But I remember seeing something forever ago. It was like John Wick Chapter 4, A Way Out. Like
Oh, yeah, they changed that because of the ending, and they didn't want to be too.
like on the
Or they didn't
On
know
the
the ending
reveal.
yet, and they
That
kind
is
of
true. They didn't want to hint too much away, so I can see why they changed the title.
Yeah.
So
But yeah,
let's
so
talk.
They could have just they could have did the subtitle "The End?" question mark.
God,
Is it
if
done?
If they did that, I'd be really bad.
but they do it in Latin.
Oh
That
man.
no one would know what.
Oh
they're
Like
man.
Finn?
Oh, that's what, okay.
I'm pretty sure. Is that what it is? Or is it French?
No,
I don't
that's
know.
French.
Oh, okay.
It is French.
Wow.
Well, they go to Paris.
I mean, yeah, this movie's based in Paris, so I mean, I'll give you a pass for that. All right, so back to the Osaka fight and everything. So my dude from the marquee dudes come in, and they're all just like, all right. And so just the way the standoff is done is really
That is true.
well done. And then, you know, Kane comes out. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
where is he? Or whatever.
They really build up the whole thing.
And like
The
their
lights go
past too,
out.
they kind of like allude to their past as like, you know, brothers and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, it just
Lots
well,
of brotherhood
and
talk.
now to the fights. So the
Yeah.
first big fight scene of this movie, dude, when John's on the roof and like that one dude gets an arrow to the knee and then he gets shot in the face, he goes, I was like, ooh.
I mean, just in general with Japan, a lot of the camera work. Like at one point, John is standing in front of like a cherry blossom tree with like a red, like the red neon light building.
Yeah,
Oh,
the trailer shot.
yeah, exactly. Really good work in that. But like, I thought this is probably one of the best like fight scenes. The fact that they added like bow and arrows and samurai swords and nunchucks along with the classic gung fu and like the jujitsu and the judo, which was, you know.
Yeah, well,
You were just
Sorry.
like, bro, the whole time.
Because I rewatched the first few and like the first one was very like basic like kimuras, leg sweeps, scissor sweeps, and like judo tosses. But this was like Amani rolls, like a single leg takedown that led to like a knee bar reversal. Like it was fucking like intense. I know you guys. I'm speaking French.
No, you're good.
knee bar reversal. Is that something? It involves the knee.
Yes, it's a knee bar, but the way he did it was in a reverse situation. It's a whole thing.
I'm sure there's going to be a breakdown of it.
Demonstrate this. We could turn this into a like.
It's ironic that
I'm
the
okay.
building we're in is also a judo studio,
is true.
so
That is
it's
true.
kind of funny.
Oh yeah.
But so it was very good. Like I thought the way they did like the nunchucks and how they did a lot of like. Because at one point he just finds a pair of nunchucks and he just starts going. to town.
wham.
Yeah, I like how he kind of like holds them.
Yeah,
on
that's
his
how
neck.
you're-
Is that's how you're supposed to do that?
Yeah.
I believe so. Again, I'm not Michelangelo.
I mean, it
over
looks
here.
pretty convincing to me. I also liked that, you know, when these masked guys come in, and the way they have to kill them is either you have to like get under the mask to slit their throat, or shoot them, just like get up in there.
There was a lot of creative, like you said. The one where the dude gets shot in the knee was really good, and then like his knee is just hanging there as he gets shot.
Yeah.
Like,
I really like the bit. It was
tumbling down the escalator.
Yep.
however they did it with the CGI. The physics on it were really good. Where she like the daughter, like she gets the arrow in the guy's helmet, and then the way it just looks, it's just like. And then stops at the wall. Like, like get pinned to the wall. I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Looks so realistic. And then also my favorite one, I think, pretty much in the entire movie. I'll have to maybe it'll be ones that you bring up later, but where they kept hitting him in the head with the nunchuck. He was like, pow, 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 pow. It was just over and over and over again. It was fucking awesome.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, very creative. Although I did notice maybe 3 or 4 times in the wide shots. There were guys just like kind of hanging out, not doing anything in the background while John's fighting some other guy.
That was the issue, is that because it would literally just be 2 people coming up at a time, and you started running into the issue of like the classic movie trope of where there's a huge herd of dudes, but they're going one at a time.
Yeah.
I mean, they paced it a little bit better because like it would be 2, and then like 2 more would come as the other 2 are falling down. It wasn't like there was just 50 plus guys just staring at John Wick waiting for their turn.
He's like, no, let him do it.
let him cook.
This is his fight. Yeah, but the thing is, I didn't notice that really in the other movies. So this is the first time I really noticed. I'm like, oh, it's kind of like a downgrade in that area. But I might be wrong. It might have been just a thing in the other ones.
No, I agree. It was starting to get to that point where it was like, okay. And so that was John Wick. But then, like you said, Kane starts getting involved.
He's just drinking a bowl of soup for a while, and it's like, my dude.
He just looks like, I'm just so done with killing and fighting. He's just like John, or he's like, I just want to be
the doorbell
done with
thing.
this.
Now, now we're there. You like the doorbell thing?
The doorbells, yeah. That was cool.
Yeah, it was a really cool way to like. That's all you were gonna say?
Well, he's blind,
Yeah.
and he needs to use sound as a visual. It's kind of like the Jurassic Park thing a little bit, where like they throw like the pan in the,
Also
same kind of setting too. Yeah.
In a way. Yeah.
Very creative, at least in this first, half hour.
Yeah, and then there's Mr. Nobody kind of gets introduced in this.
Yeah,
as well.
That's true. Right at the beginning before the fight happens.
Yes, he's got a dog, and the dog is so goddamn cute. That's the last I'll say about that. So I love how he has nuts. He just goes for the nuts.
It's such a Brad Pitt and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, and then like,
fantastic.
Goes for it.
Really well done. Let's see here. Anything else in the Osaka scene you guys want to talk about?
I thought what was a nice subtle hint was like how Kane would deliberately, at the beginning at least, he was going for non-lethal because he was just overkilling everybody.
Yeah.
So he was just knocking people out, and then he would use his cane to be like, okay.
Like a little bit of stab. It's like, stay down.
It wasn't even a stab. This is before the sword even came out. He would just like poke them. He would just slap them with it to see if they were still moving around, and then he would just go about his way doing this shit again. I mean, I'll be that stickler. I don't think Kane is functioning in real life. Because you got to realize he's blind, so he can't see.
Oh, yeah, no, that would never happen.
Yeah, if you're shooting a gun with no earring protection, you're pretty much deaf. Like, if you're shooting, especially in like a closed area like a kitchen, it's going to be it's like in Archer. Like in Archer, how he's constantly like playing with tinnitus.
Oh, the tinnitus.
That's real life. So you got a guy who's blind, shooting guns every day.
Yeah.
Now he can't hear.
My dude's just,
When were these movies realistic in the first place?
One was pretty realistic.
one
and
about
two.
A little bit, but especially like fall damage is not a thing in these movies.
It was more grounded.
No. Specifically with John Wick. Like,
Well, that's the thing. We're gonna get
in the first
into
one, he
it.
gets thrown off a balcony and like it looks painful, and he just like gets up. He's like, oh.
I mean, in this one, he has the thickest plot armor I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Well, he gets thrown. He jumps out of a building and falls 4 stories onto a car. He gets hit by like 5 cars in this movie.
Yep.
Yes, more probably. And then he falls down 200 plus steps, or 220.
Yeah, that whole
steps.
sequence. It was like a 30-second fall, like just
Oh
going.
my God. Well, no, he got knocked down halfway, and then he got knocked down again the other halfway.
Yeah.
So
It's ridiculous plot armor.
so we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So after Japan,
All right, so after Japan, the price on his head keeps going up at this point.
Yep.
So Mr. Nobody goes and meets with the Marquis and basically makes a deal with him. Like 23 million, I think it was, and they had a deal. And then the Marquis, showing his balls, sticks a knife in his hand And I'm just like, oh, that's good. You can either pull it out or you can pull your hand out through the knife
to show your dedication to the cause.
Yep.
What's the cause? Like killing John Wick?
Like being of service to the high table, essentially.
Yes. Like the I am of service thing. Yeah.
I have served. I will be of service.
Yeah,
right?
that thing.
kind of.
And oh man, that scene was like, oh, that was good.
Yeah.
Oof, gnarly.
Whoever that actor is, he showed a lot of like it looked like he was physically in pain. He had like tears in his eyes. And, like you don't really see that.
Actor.
Yeah.
He's a very good like facial actor.
Yeah.
And that's what they needed for that role. So,
I really like his character too. It's just
yeah, I
feel like
I want to see more of him.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like they could have done more with him because at the end he just kind of is there.
I mean, he didn't.
And there are a lot of
really
unanswered
need it,
questions with him.
Yeah, there are, but
Because they bring it, even the Marquise brings up, because this guy is Mr. Nobody's essentially tracking John throughout the entire thing. And Marquise deliberately asked him, he's like, how do you know where he constantly is? He's like, oh, pay me and I'll tell you. And then they just
they never tell.
told. He just knows where he is at all times.
I think they don't have an answer for that yet, and then they'll try to come up with something later if they decide to do something else.
But that's why I'm
It's
saying.
like a good question for another time, like the Maz Kanata thing. Yeah.
he doesn't watch. He doesn't watch Star Wars.
Oh, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me hear it again.
No,
Let me hear it one more time.
a good question for another time.
You changed it up a little bit.
What?
Going on to the next part. So John meets up with Winston in New York at Sharon's memorial, gravesite, whatever. And then
Which now has more weight knowing that he passed.
yes.
Yeah,
Moment of silence.
friend. Oh, he actually did it that time.
No, now you fucked it up.
What? It was a moment.
So we both fucked it up.
How long's a moment?
All right.
It was
Winston-
2 seconds. That's a moment, right? That was 2 moments.
Winston basically tells John Wick at this point that there is a way for him to get the revenge he wants in a duel. So a high table duel that is like old school rules or whatever, and he just needs to be part of a family.
Hamilton and Burr style.
Yeah, right. So he basically tells him, you got to go to Berlin, find your own old family, and they can get you back or whatever if they want to.
Now, was that? Well, you haven't seen. You seen Harry? Yeah, we saw that. Was that Nymphadora? Tonks,
Who?
the actress. That's
The actress plays.
That's her, right?
Katya? Like,
Well, yeah, Katya, whatever her fucking name is.
I don't know. I'd have to
It
look
looked
up
like
the
her to me.
actress.
You know Game of Thrones? Osha.
No.
Dude, I don't watch Game of Thrones. You know that.
I don't watch Game of Thrones either.
The fuck? I know. Yeah, that's why I was talking in Harry Potter terms.
Oh,
Because she's Tonks in Harry Potter.
Who?
Tonks.
Okay, I hate you. Just what happens next?
Moving on.
Moving on.
All right, so basically he gets kind of fucked over by a priest, gets shot.
So that's
Point blank.
That's a good point that I want to talk about.
I'm here
which
to
is-
see Peel.
is
Shotgun.
the issue, like one of my issues with this movie is like
Yeah.
the bulletproof suits.
They
which-
rely on it too heavily.
Well, they rely on too heavily, but it's also again you want to talk about plot armor and like well, it was first introduced in what 2, 3?
I think it's in.
I think it was
no,
two. I
no,
think it was two.
it was the first one.
a bulletproof suit. No, that wasn't introduced in 1.
I think it was 2.
It might have, so in one of the sequels it was introduced, but now
Where does he go to see the tailor? Is that in 2?
That's 2, I think. Yeah.
it is 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the Smoulier or whatever.
You just watched this like what last night?
Yeah.
yeah, I did. Yeah, the wine guy. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Or whatever. What sommelier? What are those guys called? The ones that like are like the wine samplers. They're like the wine specialists.
I don't know the name.
It's Sue something. But the
sous chef, yeah.
But so that was in 2. But so now you have like any kind of bullet is not going through the suit to the point of where John Wick takes point blank range. Point blank.
It was like 5 feet away.
But still, with a shotgun?
It's a double barrel
Bro.
12 gauge. You're telling me that this suit is able to absorb all of that kinetic energy, not breaking any bones. First off, I'm pretty sure even at point blank
Well,
range,
he went flying backward.
he went flying
He
backwards.
was like, oh.
exactly.
He was like,
it's like he was in there.
It is a movie about a government of assassins.
No, I get that. Don't get me wrong. I get that, and I get that's the world we're living in, and that's the mindset you have to have.
Yeah.
But you can also be like,
But the realistic.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
Like, because again, it's one.
I
thing-
mean, I get it.
It's
Yeah.
one thing, and this happens throughout the. So in 1, there was like one dude gets hit by a car and dies instantly. In this one, John Wick gets hit like 8 times by cars, so much so that they are pretty much totaled, not hurt.
But he rolled on it.
No, no, that's not how that works. So that happens. He falls off how many buildings? Like,
well, yeah, like he.
And so, but because you brought up the fact that he went to the church to talk to the Russians, the Padre just shot him point blank, and he was like, "Oh man, that stung a little bit."
He's like, knocked the wind out of me.
Yeah, he's like, "Oof!" That smirts.
Anyway, yeah. So the next scene, he's like hanging on this contraption that's hanging him or whatever. Mm-hmm. Basically, he convinces his
he just
way.
like kind of cranks him.
Yeah, like hang him. Yeah,
he convinces his way into finding the person who killed Piotr. Piotr, whatever. Piotr, I don't know, whatever. Katya's father, whoever.
Yes.
Whatever, however you pronounce his name. And then we get the best line of the whole franchise. I am Klaus.
I am Klaus.
I am Klaus.
I am Klaus.
He's like, no, he had a list.
Klaus.
He did it. Yeah.
He's like, I'm Klaus.
I'm Klaus.
I'm Klaus.
God, I love that so much.
He like takes him to the fucking the next guy. Mm-hmm. He's just like, thank you, Klaus. I'm Klaus.
Like, yeah, we know.
Leaves.
All right, so then.
So now he meets with like this
killer.
Killer who's like a German. What would you even call him? Like.
That's a mob boss.
So okay,
Yes,
he was clearly in a fat suit. Who was the actor though?
Oh, Scott Adkins.
Not a good fat suit.
I could definitely tell it was.
Yeah, I could tell.
It wasn't like Brendan Fraser.
No, the Batman. It was no the Batman.
No, the Batman. I didn't quite understand. Like, there's like, oh, let's just sit down for a card game. Everybody wants to kill.
Essentially, I thought it was a good take on like the Mexican standoff because you had Mr. Nobody who showed up again somehow. You had Kane, so both Kane and Mr. Nobody want to kill John Wick.
Right.
John Wick wants to kill
everybody.
What's his name? Killa?
Yeah, Killa.
Yeah, fat German guy.
Okay.
Fat German guy wants to kill John Wick.
Okay.
So they're all kind of pointing at, they're all doing the Michael J. Scott.
No.
From the Michael. No, wait, what's
But no, what you just described was they all want to kill John.
No, but they all want to kill him for
You
themselves.
want to kill him. Okay. You want to kill him.
Yeah, because if you kill Dan, but I want to kill Dan, but you get him before I do, that means you get all the money and I don't. It's not a team effort here. It's just one person gets the pot. So that's why they're like. So they proceed to play a card game. They play a 5-card draw to see who gets to do the kill, which Mr. Killer gets a 5 of a kind. Which
I knew you were a cheating bastard.
Yeah. Which I love how Kane was. I love Kane's take. He's like, "Let me see what cards I got." And then
he can make fun of it. It's great.
And then he just sits there and he's like, "Oh, I guess you got 5 of a kind. Oh, what a surprise!"
Yep.
Which leads to, and this is all taking place in like another nightclub.
Yeah.
So they start fighting. John Wick somehow turns like a playing card into like a shuriken and cuts the guy's neck somehow.
He shot him in the ass at one point too.
Shot him in the ass.
Yep.
So what do you guys think of the nightclub scene? I felt like it was sort of a retread of the first one.
Yeah, but it's like a callback. In other words, like it's fine.
The waterfalls do a lot.
The setting was nice, even though you have several hundred people dancing as people are just getting shot.
That was in the second one too. They're in the fucking rave and the catacombs and shit.
One of the problems with the second one. Like it's like, can they make it?
It's
they're
like
all running out at the very.
It's a world of
too.
secret assassins, but they're not really secret.
But that is true. You spend like however long we're in a fight scene in the club where they're just hanging out, and then they cut to them leaving the club, and everyone's panicking and running out. It's like
oh my god, they're killing someone.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, this is crazy. Like you were just standing there watching this happen.
You didn't see this guy fucking fall 3 stories and break his neck. Like,
oh my god!
Oh my god! That was the best death.
So
holy shit!
He's like, why won't you die? He's so like, bah! He's like, and like straight down like a fucking
and then
missile.
He's just like.
You heard that? Yeah, that was awesome.
That was a very good ragdoll effect where he was just like,
yeah. But yeah, you could see like his face was just like, he's just like,
great.
I'm dead. Like
so good.
You see like the crack in his skull and shit. That was awesome.
But I mean, nothing really stood out in that nightclub fight scene to me. Like, yeah, they had some axes. They did the classic John Wick stuff, but it wasn't like
there was the one where the dude was running at me, and he just axed.
There was an axe throw, but
cool.
like I can rename stuff from the one in Japan.
Yeah.
I can rename the ones that are going to happen in French, or at least certain ones. I can't really say this kill was good, or this was a good, like that sequence of choreography was good. I could be wrong, but
I think the Osaka one was definitely the better of the 2 big fight scenes. I mean, technically there were 3. We'll get to the third one in a little bit, but
Like I think just
Osaka was really well done. There's so many different weapons, so many different ways
and
to
the
kill
setting.
people.
Yeah, I just think that the one in the nightclub was very kind of mid.
Yeah, the high table duel, I think, is the next thing we're doing. So it's the night of the duel, or the night before the duel.
Well, you're skipping how the duel got started.
Yeah, the whole midpoint.
It's a whole
I
midpoint.
think I said that.
So
I think we noticed how about the. Oh yeah, so when they actually make
meet
the deal,
up.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I did skip that
And then fucking the Marquise is like a dickhead. He's like, I volunteer Kane.
as tribute.
He's like, you see him in the back, like the fuck, man.
yeah.
You fucking pussy.
So John, the whole like crux of the plot is John Wick proves the death of Killa to the Russians. The Russians are like, cool, you're part of the family again.
Brands him again.
Which I don't think they did that the first time.
No,
Because he didn't have a scar already there, so that must have just been a new initiation.
unless he has a scar on a different part of his body.
Well, he had a shit ton of tattoos on his back.
Well, that's
on
what,
the first one.
So now that he's part of the family, he can officially challenge a high table member, which you think that would happen a lot more if it was that simple to just be a part of a family.
Yeah.
I thought, they kind of allude to it because it's like they think it's a myth that you can challenge people. It's like, it's not like the old ways.
But there are some that know. So, yeah.
So now that he's officially, back in the fold, then he challenges the Marquise and they meet. I like the setting where it was like
that was cool.
huge table.
Right in front of the Eiffel Tower.
Right in front of the Eiffel Tower. They had a bunch of metal cards. And again, you want to talk about lore building, like high table, the whole setting. They had you had to pick the time, you had to pick the place, and you had to pick the
Weapons.
So John Wick said now, and he was like, nah. He was like sunrise. He was like, no, let's go right now. So, and when you flip the cards, it would have like a number on it.
What's the higher number?
Right, whatever higher number made the decision. So they decided sunrise at, what's the name of the place?
At the church.
I forget
Some
the name of it.
landmark in France.
With pistols. Dueling
With
pistols.
pistols.
Yeah. I like how he's like Marky wanted to make it knives because like he knew he was gonna.
It was like blades, and he's like pistols.
Pistols.
So now the Marquise's plan, because he's he knows he's going to lose, is to up the ante again for John Wick's bounty to like, I think at one point it went from like 18 to like I think it made it to 20 something.
The top it ever made was 40 million.
Yeah, that was the very end.
Because that was the Mr. Nobody being like,
Yes.
like, I want 35 million. No, I cannot do that. And he hangs up. He's like, and he calls him back and he's like, now it's 40 million.
Right.
He's like, fucking
But for
fine.
the actual like umbrella society,
26,
like, yeah, like the actual like radio systems and all that
Yeah, I
stuff.
like how the whole, like, they had this whole underground radio broadcast that they all listen to. It's like, oh, here you go.
And like, you probably don't know, but that's like a very big callback to the Warriors in that movie in the 70s.
I saw
it's
that.
like close up with this girl's lips on a mic and just like,
Oh, in that one?
Yeah,
in
yeah,
that
so-
Warriors. Yeah, I thought you meant the other one.
So,
there's another one?
Well, it's two completely different Warriors.
Or you mean like the UFC one?
The UFC one with Tom Hardy, but Warrior singular is ironically enough is the one of the group of people. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and the woman who's saying that, her name is Rina Sawayama. She's a singer, and she also sings the credit song "Eye for an Eye."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's a nice little tidbit.
Anyway,
So they put out a bounty again. Basically, the goal is to make sure John Wick is dead before sunrise, because the caveat of the duel is if you don't make it, then
Instant
you automatically
execution.
are disqualified. So he's trying to keep him as busy as possible, which leads to the Arc de Triomphe fight scene, because he's trying to drive his way over.
all right,
there.
yeah. Let's talk about this scene, because this is the next bigger fight scene that they had. So
With the whole, the cars gets hit by
Dickwad,
3 cars.
Dickwad Marquis henchman. Oh my god, this guy would not fucking die.
The guy, I thought he got killed in Osaka.
yeah, everybody
he
thought
just didn't
that. He didn't die. He don't die.
I hated his sideburns.
Oh my god, he was so annoying.
Bro,
But
It was like a brick. It was like a really thin, and then like it looked like a headphone, but like lower on his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're all. This is where John Wick gets hit like 20 fucking times with a car.
Yeah, because as they're at the Arc, there's just a bunch of cars driving in circles, so they're playing Frogger.
I like
They're going back and forth.
I couldn't not think of the fucking vacation bit. I know it's at Big Ben, so it's a different place. But like, you're like, oh look, kid, it's Big Ben again. And he's like driving around, he can't get out of the fucking roundabout. I couldn't not think of
That is true.
I also liked at one point the callbacks to the first one, where they're in the subway terminal shooting at each other like this, and they're kind of doing that again between cars though in this one.
Right.
That was pretty.
So that
cool.
was another rebeat.
Nice little callback.
Speaking of that I was hoping for Common to show up again in this one. I really liked his whole fight because he left him alive.
That is
did.
true.
Yeah, but anyway,
No.
But again, you want that was another plot armor heavy because he got hit by
That
a
was the
bunch of
biggest one.
cars, which again, your bulletproof suit does not protect you against full impact.
Or maybe it does, but they just never told us.
No, it doesn't.
no, it doesn't.
Those are
Well, no,
two
because they
separate
literally
things.
they showed.
One is piercing, one is bludgeoning.
Well, in the
They're
second
two
one,
separate worlds.
they literally said that like it'll stop the bullet, but it won't stop any of it'll hurt
Right, it'll
way
still
more
hurt.
because
And
there's
now
literally no
Still
protection.
bruised, yeah.
Yeah, now he's just eating full on cars.
Yeah,
head
dude's
on.
whole body is gonna be fucking just a giant bruise at this point.
Yeah.
Well, again, so like that one, I did like how. So at one point he has a muscle car and he's doing a donut. And there's
Yes.
8 people that he's doing a donut around, and he's just systematically dropping them.
You go home like, oh my god, this is so cool.
I also was kind of annoyed because they basically did a whole before the Arc de Triomphe. He went underground to see the fucking what's his name again?
I don't know
Bowery
his
King?
name, but I
Yeah,
know
the
Lawrence
underground
Fishburne,
king.
the Bowery. Yeah.
Yeah, and they basically do a gun ad. And it was like the Pit Viper 23 mag, one in the chamber, extended barrel, so muzzle flipping, da da da. And I was like,
So he said there's like
looked up the
virtually.
price,
I so of course the ad actually got to me. So I looked up the gun. It was $7,000. I go, nope.
No.
Nice try, John
Never
Wick.
mind.
I was like, no thanks.
Did he say there's virtually no muzzle flash?
Yeah.
Muzzle flip, not muzzle flap.
Oh, okay. Because I'm like, how would that even work? And like, so I was looking later when he's actually shooting him, like, yeah, they're fucking liars.
Oh yeah, it was muzzle flip, which is just the
yeah.
barrel kicking up.
Yeah.
Yeah, $7,000.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm good.
Moving on from that scene, they get to this really cool house scene that
Yes,
we need
this,
to talk
abandoned
this
about.
was probably one of the best.
This
ones
was
in the
probably my
movie.
favorite scene in the whole movie.
This hasn't been done. So they basically what they did was they actually started following him like over the shoulder, and then it pans up to like an aerial shot
Over the head.
So
Yeah.
now it's like each room, he's going systematically through each room.
Major Kill Bill vibes for me.
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit.
But also, Kill Bill didn't have a shotgun with
fucking
breath.
dragon
That was-
Oh my
It was
God.
essentially a flamethrower, which was amazing.
It looked real
It was
good.
really
Yeah.
good. And then, so that was
Just going room to room.
Yeah,
and
just
then
going
they go
room-
back into at one point over the shoulder, and then they go back out again.
Yeah, so
It's
that's
like,
the thing. It would come down for like important beats, like when
Yes.
John Wick started fighting Mr. Nobody, who again just knew where he was, and then it would pan back up to like when he was just shooting a bunch of the henchmen that no one gave a fuck about, and then it would pan back down. So it was very good going back and forth between showing how like this is just fucking cool action to like this is plot. Okay, this is cool action. Okay, this is plot.
really well
Yeah.
choreographed.
It was,
They really
very
well
well.
planned out.
Very well.
It just
And this
God.
this scene has pretty much, I think, the like defining like character beat for me at least, where
yes.
so Mr. Nobody sicks his dog on the on the henchman guy.
Well,
Yeah,
no, the
the
dog
head-
just goes there. Like Mr. Nobody's like in like a headlock from John Wick.
Yeah, so he's fighting John Wick, and then like so John has a opportunity to kill Mr. Nobody or save the dog.
Yeah, because
Saves the
Marquise
dog.
is about, or the Marquise's head henchman is just about to fucking finish him off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Dude that doesn't die. Yeah.
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 So and
Mr. Sideburns. There you
Yeah.
go.
he's like, I don't want like I read it as like he doesn't want anybody to feel that pain that he felt in the
Full
first
circle.
one.
It shows
Comes
his
full
character.
circle,
Oh,
shoots.
Shows who he is.
Yeah.
No, that was a very nice touch.
So and then now Mr. Nobody's on John's side 'cause he's like, whoa, this man like could have killed me. Blah blah blah.
He could have killed him afterwards too. He could have shot them both. But
Yeah.
no. So
And he jumps out of a fucking 4-story building.
oh my
So
god.
that's the thing. Again,
We talked about that.
No reason to do that either.
Yeah.
Like,
well, even Mr. Sideburns, Marquise's head of security. So I thought he died in the house because this right as he was about to shoot the dog, John Wick shoots him and he falls down like one flight of steps.
Yeah.
but they
lands on
kind
his
of
But he shoots him in the arm.
Right, but they made the fall the way they edited it, and like they did the cut and the sound effect. It sounded like that's just how he died, and then it followed up that John Wick jumps out 4 stories, completely flattens a car, walks away, and I was like, all right, so the other guy must not be dead. The other guy just fell down like 3 stairs. It's fine, not a big deal.
And now we're at the 222 steps up to the cathedral. We'll just call it a cathedral.
I love how it's almost like a NASCAR event where they're just like, because you got like the Marquis and Winston all talking up at the church. They're like, yeah, it's 222 stairs. He has to be here in 30 seconds or some shit.
It was like 3 minutes or so.
Yeah.
It's
3 minutes to be
ridiculous.
here.
It's like, it's 6 a.m. Like, got to get there 6:03.
And there's proceeds to be like a 15-minute, fight scene. They're like, man,
Dope.
he's got 2 minutes left.
So
You're like, what?
really well done again. Yeah. And then Mr. Dude that doesn't die still didn't
Shows
die.
up with fucking everybody. I
Kicks
thought
him
it
down the
was,
stairs.
and like,
So deflating.
I
So
saw
that was
it.
the thing. So I love how John Wick gets all the way up to the steps, fighting some, no name, like I'm just trying to grab the contract. And then Marquise and his boys are there. They kick him down. I was really hoping that he would go all the way to the bottom and he'd just be like, what the fuck?
He did, didn't
He
he?
basically was. He's like,
I thought he did. Oh. Yeah, and then so I was in the theater. I saw it like Thursday night with like all the hardcore John Wick fans, and they're just like every step he's just like,
You want to talk about hardcore? We had a row and a half of dudes in suits.
yeah. That was
Swear to God.
weird.
Swear to God.
It was so weird.
Well,
Was it like a Minions thing where they
suits like suits, like a John Wick suit.
On a Sunday.
Not like the meme of where they're like gentlemen.
Yeah, not that.
I think it was just like, he wears
John
a suit,
Wick.
so we wear a suit.
Yeah, they were wearing like darker suits too, like John did in the other movies.
So they were like really big gun enthusiasts, and they all dressed up for the movie.
That's
and we're like,
funny.
all right.
That's really funny.
We respect John Wick.
The first hand few that went in were like, oh, you guys must be, leaving the office going to see the movie. And then like a group of like 12 walk in, we're like, oh.
Now to the actual duel. So John eventually gets back up with the help of Kane, and they start the duel. Clancy Brown just being like,
I'm the referee. I'm the rules
standing
guy.
there just being stud.
Mr. Crab.
Anyway,
Money.
yeah. So they do 30 paces, and these
Well, just to be clear,
sawed off.
the Marquise, being the Frenchman that he is, being the Frenchman that he is, he nominated.
Yeah, we said that.
What, did we say that?
Yeah.
Kane is his nomination.
Yes. So it's Kane and John, and now there's that whole extra struggle of like we were friends.
Yeah,
we were all
because
together.
they really hammer it home. The whole they fight their way up, both of them.
Right. Up the
Like,
stairs.
and when they get
Again,
there,
it comes back to the brotherhood thing.
Yeah.
So now it all comes down to this.
Yep. And
They go 30 paces out.
they kind of just skim each
They
other the
graze
first time.
each other.
Yeah.
They
Going
go
in 10 more.
paces to the 20-yard mark.
and then
Graze
John.
each other again. They go all the way to the 10-yard mark.
No, I think
John tags
Kane got hit
tags
pretty
Kane
good.
pretty good.
Yeah, but they're all like limb shot. They're not.
Yeah,
like,
it's limb. Yeah,
it's
and then
non-fatal shots.
Yeah. And the third one,
last one. Ooh.
John doesn't fire.
Yeah, I noticed that. I'm just like, oh,
did too.
did he just like let it happen or like?
And yeah, so
And again,
So-
being the Frenchman that he is.
it's like, let me do the
like-
finishing touches.
Yeah, he's like, let me put in the killing shot now that you've done all of this work. Now that you've shot him
I deserve the glory.
Dipshit, he didn't fire. Ooh, bang.
Yeah, loved it.
So well done.
Crowd pleasing moment.
The one
Yeah.
thing I didn't like about that, because Winston is there. He's the one that says, he didn't fire. But at one point he goes like, John Wick, he's like, man, look at this beautiful sunrise. And the camera pans to the worst green screen.
Okay, but before we get to that, I need to say a trivia fact that I found. So
They paid $10 for that green screen. Is that what the
So
trivia fact
listen-
was?
okay. So when John didn't fire, that also has a thing. The main antagonist dies in the even-numbered movies 2 and 4 by a gunshot, and it's
to the head.
Knives in the first and the third. They get stabbed or something like that, or die a different way. Yeah, so it's a nice little trend they had going on. in
Wait,
the even-numbered movies.
what's his name? The Russian dad. He was killed by a knife. I thought he got beat to death.
Oh, either way, I don't know.
I think
They
he
die a
I
different
think he
way,
pulled
but
I think he pulled a knife out at one point during the hand-to-hand.
they
okay.
get stabbed or whatever. But yes, so shitty green screen. That is one thing I wanted to bring up.
I didn't really notice it.
How the fuck didn't you notice it?
I just didn't. I don't know. I was more paying attention to like his line where he's just like, he's like a pep talk, Winston. He's like, Have fun out there, I guess.
All right, so it looked really good against the building. It looked really good. Everything looked fantastic. When you looked out at the horizon,
Was that bad? Really?
it
Okay.
looked so
It was
bad.
pretty blatant. Like,
And you're gonna hate me for this. I saw the movie twice, so I saw it on Friday as well.
oh, okay.
But the second time it was even worse. I was like,
I'm trying to
"Heh."
think what Marvel movie would it be akin to?
Black Widow.
How bad this? I didn't even see that.
It looked.
There's one
it
shot
looked
where,
like
like-
Black Widow.
Where like she's like you didn't have to, and she stabs like the jet engine thing. She like falls
Okay,
off.
not that. Okay,
it
not
looks
that
real
bad,
bad
but,
there.
Like it looks like
Like She-Hulk or like
the light. I think the lighting threw it off too. Like
I'll go with
it-
X-Men Origins.
like the
Ooh, that's a good one.
like the claws and shit.
Yeah.
That bad?
Kind of like the same. It was pretty.
See, that's another.
Because you could definitely tell, like, this is practical, and they're like, that's not practical.
Ugh, bro.
See, this is another problem in Hollywood, though. Like, they don't give the graphics artists enough time to finish the movie, and they release unfinished movies.
Or just do it practically.
They could.
Just have a
I know.
sunrise. It's not that hard.
It's just I think this is a reshoot. I think they had a different ending in mind the first time.
You think?
And then
Well, there was a was it? I remember seeing something like somebody says the insane ending of whatever movie. I'm pretty sure it was Chad Stahelski though.
because this movie got pushed back a year.
Why?
So COVID. They said COVID
Again?
but
We
it
were
was
out
supposed
of
to
it by the
last-
time they
This was
started.
supposed to come in 2022. So maybe they had to change the ending. Maybe. So who knows? It's just
I mean, possibly. They probably did, like, test
because
screens and stuff.
it didn't look good.
But so at the end of the duel, he's like, yeah, I'm going to need a ride home. And he's like, all right, cool. And he's like, I just need to take a minute. And he's just sitting down. He's like, ugh.
Winston just knows.
And-
Yeah.
Plop.
And then, so John Wick officially dies in this one.
Well, does he though?
Canonically.
No.
Does he though?
No,
I
we're
don't
not
want him to come back. They did
Let's-
they did a
let's
death
get-
very beautifully.
Okay, this is trivia fact.
He was living, or he's buried next to his dead wife.
I
It's a
thought
perfect ending for him.
The send off was very good.
I agree.
Okay.
So Keanu Reeves and Chad Stahelski both had a Q&A session recently where they said it's ultimately up to the audience to decide if John is really dead or not. So I think they're thinking that he might not be dead.
Okay, hey, we're the audience.
Yeah.
He's dead.
They all,
If you did a 5,
But
if they did 5, you're getting into Fast and Furious territories. They're already having an issue in 4, like we've already pointed out several times. All these cars, point blank getting shot, all these things that are now making it like kind of cartoonish now. If you went to, how are you going to top it with 5 but not make it cartoonish? You're gonna
Canonically, he's like 50, right?
yeah.
probably around
late
that,
40s at least,
early
right?
50s.
Well, I mean,
Yeah. So like, I don't care how fit you are. Even if you are the boogeyman, you're not going to survive much longer doing this kind of work.
I also wasn't done. The audience almost unanimously agreed that he's dead.
yeah,
Oh, that's good.
So
because exactly. So that's the movie.
that's the movie. There was a rare post-credit scene. There's the first post-credit scene in John Wick.
Not
so
worth it.
Oh, I didn't even see it.
Not worth it.
Not worth it.
it was just
really.
Cody's daughter. She basically
she's like-
found Donnie Yen, and
So,
she,
yeah, so
a
Kane's
knife
character-
came up, and then that's where it cut off.
So you
Like,
see
as she's
Kane's
walking towards
characters
him.
with like flowers. He's finally gonna like go talk to his daughter, and as he's walking up, what was
Koji's
it?
daughter. I was just,
Yeah.
Akira.
Yeah, Akira, who is obviously they hinted like her trying to get revenge on Kane.
She's going to try to kill Kane.
Yeah, so they they do like a little like waist shot. So they have focused on her hand as she's walking up to Kane. She pulls out like a knife out and like
Yeah.
flicks the blade open and it cuts there. So they're trying to like either hint at like
She's dead.
But
Possibly
I think there's
dead.
no
Or they're
shot.
trying to-
or they're going to be like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, you want to team up?
or it's gonna be she'll be the next like that'll be the spin series.
so
Well, I know Ana de Armas has
what's
hers,
next
right?
for John Wick series? The Ballerina comes out next year, 2024. Ana de Armas, Norman Reedus. So it's gonna be a very interesting combo
say
there.
Norman Reedus?
Norman Reedus.
Like
yeah.
Daryl.
Yeah.
What is he doing?
Yeah, I don't know, man. But
You seen those guys on
and
TikTok
Keanu
impersonating
is also
him?
in it. Keanu is also in it. But I think
Oh, so it might be
it's
a flashback.
It's a
It'll
flashback.
probably be-
Or a
Yeah.
flashback, or the whole movie takes
It's a
place
prequel.
before he gets
Is it a
out.
movie or a
It's-
series?
I think it's a prequel. So the
Yeah,
ballerina, you remember the second one? I think it was the second one. There's that ballerina. That's who Ana de Armas is going to be playing. Obviously, wrong person. Don't look nothing alike, but that is.
Is that the ballerina that was like twirling so much that her feet were bleeding?
Oh, and then she rips out her toenail?
Yeah. All right. So let's give our ratings for this movie. Danny.
I give it a solid 88, like the crazy 88
so
from Kill
funny.
Bill. I really like this movie.
Yeah.
It's the third one. My only qualms with it was just like, I thought we were reaching the peak of action. It felt so exhausting in the third one, but this one had way more action, but didn't feel exhausting.
Exactly. It was paced well.
Very paced well. Yeah. Paced very well.
There were times where I was like, "What time is it?" There were definitely some times where I was like, "All right." It was like, what, a 3-hour long movie?
It was 3 hours long.
Yeah, there were definitely some times where I was like, all right.
All right.
Yeah.
I give it an 89 because that's what I was originally going to give it. I'm not Jeopardy. No, not Jeopardy. Oh my God.
Not Price is Right me.
You.
Right.
I'm not Price is Writing You. But yeah, dude, the sound was fire. All the choreography, so well done. Cinematography is pretty good until the last scene. But yeah, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, and Scott Adkins all did really well. And despite Keanu only having about 20 lines of dialogue, it was not delivered well at all.
Well, yeah, that's Keanu Reeves. He's never been good at delivering
He's
lines.
good. He's a good facial actor. He's a really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows how to get his point across and make him, vulnerable as well as intimidating at the same time.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's fucking John Wick.
exactly.
Like, I mean, ironically, Matrix was probably his best acting work. I'd say this is like his most famous role, I think, now at this point.
Easily.
But yeah, though, you go.
What do you give it out of
I'm
100?
going to give it an 8.7.
87.
So 87, 88, 89.
I have my own scoring system.
He's an IMDb
not on
guy.
ours.
No, I'm the
We're
Barstool
like,
pizza
we
scale.
always say letterbox stuff.
That's
We
an
don't
8.7.
rate letterbox wise.
Yeah, well, they rate 5 stars.
Yeah.
We rate out of 100.
Yeah.
Which that's just a holdover from our blood alcohol content. But then we realized two podcasts in, if your blood alcohol content was 100%, you would be dead.
You'd be dead
you would be
4 times over.
100% alcohol running through your veins.
You
So
wouldn't get anywhere close to that, and you would still die.
yeah, so it didn't make any sense, and we're here now. So
How do you guys rank the
out of all of them,
The
yeah, out of all, how do you
quadrilogy.
how do you do that? So what do
I'll
you got?
go 2, 1, 4, 3.
I will do 1, 4, 3, 2.
What's your blood
two-
alcohol content right now?
2 is the best. I think we agree on that one. 2, 3, 4, 1. I think 1 is actually the worst, and because I'm a story guy.
You have the exact opposite of me.
Really?
Fuck you.
Oh, well, you go 1, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. But I really like the world building and the story behind it. The first one hints at a little bit there's this assassin hotel. Oh, and they have their own cleaning service. That's kind of cool. But then the second one opens it wide up.
That's why 2 is the best.
Yeah.
2 is great. I'm not saying 2 is bad.
3
they're all
oversteps a
very
little bit.
close.
3 gets a little convoluted with Halle Berry and Dubai and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then again, even their action's kind of non-memorable. But so 2 definitely took everything great of 1, and then they finally got a budget and they fucking blew up.
Yeah, they just went for it.
2's absolutely the best.
Toe.
2.
Toe.
I didn't say that.
I love toe.
2's the best.
I didn't say that.
All right.
2's the best. 1 is still you have to respect the fact that how groundbreaking 1 was, because at the time when 1 came
I thought it was just another 47 Ronin bullshit movie coming out. Yeah.
But even when that came, when did 1 come out?
2014.
14. So all the action movies were the shitty fucking shaky cam, cut. So that was a breath of fresh air, and that really redefined the action series. And then again, 4 was good because it did a lot more than
Dude, the choreography.
was really good, very different. Elevated it, and then minus all some of the plot issues that we had. And then 3 was just kind of
Yeah.
3 kind of was lackluster for me out of all of them.
I'd say this one is probably the most cartoonish
It is.
out of all of them, but it still works.
I think 3 is the most cartoonish. Honestly. Yeah.
I don't think
I don't know.
3 has John Wick get shot point blank and just be like, man, that was
True.
It was a bad day.
It was also a lot of that one was tiring amount of violence though. So I mean,
The last one, or the third one, I definitely when they were fighting the 2 guys from the raid. I'm like, when is this just gonna end? I'm so tired just watching this, and then but they brought it home.
Well, all right. I think we're wrapping this one up here. We're Seen It Before. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok with the handle @SeenItBeforecast. That's SCENE It Beforecast, and on Twitter with the handle SIB_pod. I'm Dan.
I'm Danny. You can find me on Instagram at Danny_Was. My letterbox didn't see realize that DJ Was, or my YouTube channel, which is just Danny Was.
John, you don't have social media, so we're just gonna CG you right here, and we're just gonna
look. It's John.
Yeah, this is John. Anything you want to say to anyone?
Keep watching Seen It Before.
Oh yeah, that's
thanks for the plug,
that's
man.
Right, baby. That's right, baby. All right. Well, next time we got Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Really excited for this one.
It's by the guys who did Game Night, so I'm a little more
Okay.
a little more into it. It didn't sound like a good idea, but
But
now
they're
it sounds.
also the writer Jonathan Goldstein did Homecoming as well. He wrote Homecoming, so I think we got some
Good behind the scenes.
It's gonna be some good
elements.
Yeah, definitely gonna have a lot of good action, a lot of good comedy. So that's all I'm honestly expecting from this movie.
Can't wait to see it.
Cool.
Can't wait to see it. And but yeah, we'll it's been an honor as usual. We'll see you next time.